Within 30 seconds, they really were just themselves.
This is the bungalow where I shot those pictures.
Yes, just over 50 years ago, Canadian filmmaker's journey to find inner peace led him to a life-changing time with the Beatles in India. Decades later, Paul Saltzman is revealing the details of his precious moments with John, Paul, George, and Ringo in his new documentary.
He joins us live this morning near what used to be known as the Maple Leaf Gardens, where the band once played in Toronto in the early Mania days. Good morning, Paul. First of all, congratulations. This reads like some sort of fictional Eat, Pray, Love Julia Roberts story, and it's incredible. So take us back. You were like, what, 23, 24, you were heartbroken, your girlfriend broke up with you, and you're like, I'm going to an ashram in India, but I can't afford it. So how did you get there? Let's start with that fact. You lied about your skills.
I was working at the National Film Board of Canada. I knew I wanted to go to India, and I didn't have the money to get there, so I spoke to a film director who I knew at the board, who was making a documentary. He said he wasn't taking anyone, and there was this pause, and then he said, have you ever done sound? And lying through my teeth, I said, absolutely, without hesitation. So he said, okay, if you get yourself to India, I'll pay you the same as I paid the Indian sound man. They were all men in those days. Thankfully, they're not all men these days. And so it was a $500 job, and the ticket was $550, so I had enough money.
You're like, hey, I'm going to break out even on this thing, and I'll feel better after I get back as well. So you get to the ashram, and you want to be at this retreat, but that was a challenge in itself, right?
Yep, the ashram was closed. I didn't know the Beatles were in India, and I saw them live right here. Yeah, it was 1964. I came out on Carlton Street. It was dead silent after 18,000 people were screaming their heads off. There were ticket stubs all over the street here. If you'd picked them up, you'd be rich today.
And then there they are in front of you. And you actually had the guts to go up to them while they were all seated at a table. What, like 10 of them? What was it again? We watched it. It was like a bunch of them at a table. And you walk up. Hey, I'm Paul.
Yep, and there were the four Beatles, their three wives, one girlfriend, Donovan, Mia Farrow, Mike Love of the Beach Boys, and Mal Evans, their roadie. And it didn't take courage, because I had just done this meditation, the first in my life. It healed the agony of the heartbreak in one 30-minute meditation. It's like, who knew, right? Crazy. And so when I came out of the meditation, I was in an altered state. I was in a state of bliss. And George Harrison later said to me, we were sitting alone talking, he said, I get higher meditating than I ever did on drugs. And I knew what he meant, because I had just experienced it. And so when I walked over to them, I was completely calm.
You saw them as humans, not these godlike musicians and stars. And you actually were there while they were in their most creative musical period ever. You witnessed them writing down oobla dee, oobla da, and playing it.
Yep, it was pretty, it was pretty special, but you see, it wasn't about being outside the experience. This is what was really remarkable. Being in that altered state, being in that quiet space of meditation and inward calm, it wasn't like, oh, I'm sitting with the Beatles. I really didn't think of them that way after the first 30 seconds, like it said in the clip you did. So I took out my camera twice. I had lots of film. I could have shot every day. I just didn't think of it, literally.
Yeah, it became just friends hanging out and going through this experience and this journey together, right? And then you returned home, as you mentioned, you took those photos, you got the video footage, returned home and you put that away. And you're just like, yeah, I got other things going on, man. I got to do Danger Bay, and I've got my secret identity. I got things happening. Why did you pull this stuff back out, and why was now the time to get that documentary going?
Well, first of all, I hadn't thought of them for 32 years. I literally, out of sight, out of mind. I literally forgot about them. I didn't tell my two best friends I'd hung out with the Beatles in India. I didn't tell them because I didn't think of it. It was just a very private, very life-changing experience. And then my daughter, when she was 16, became a Beatles fan with three of her best girlfriends. And she came and said to me one day, didn't you tell me when I was little you met the Beatles in India? And I said, yeah. And she said, didn't you tell me you took some pictures of them? And I said, yeah. And it was kind of like, duh, can I see them? And then it took 3 weeks to find them because I didn't know where they were. And I showed them to her, on a slide projector in our living room. And she asked all the normal questions. Why were you there? What were they like? And at the end of the evening, just me and her sitting together, she said, "They're really great, Dad. You should do something with them." And I thought about it for a week. I thought, do I want to do something with them? And I thought, oh, that would be fun. And that led to the first book, and that led to the gallery shows, and eventually it led to making this film.
Yeah, they're so good and they're so candid that they're very much a part of the Beatles' history. And thank you for continuing it with your story. What do you want everybody at home to know about the Beatles and the way you know them?
Well, you know, they were 4 human beings. They just were stunningly talented, and stunningly talented as a group. The time I spent with them, they were totally down to earth, very kind with me, very warm with me, just really delightful.
You're a delight, Paul. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have a favorite Beatles track? I'm going to make you pick one.
Someone asked me that the other day. I said I have 50 favorite Beatles tracks. Well, you know, Obladi, because I was sitting with them when they were working on it. So Obladi is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's it. I think they did about 48 tracks while they were there during that time that you were there as well, right? So so cool. People can check out Meeting the Beatles in India at hotdocs.ca. It's streaming now. Paul, thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey with all of us.
It was awesome.
Thank you to both of you.